Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing okay. Hello, everybody. And hope that you can hear me okay. Just trying to connect to Instagram here. So just bear with me. Hope you've all had a good first week back of the holidays. I don't know about you all, but there's a lot of sickness going around. Let me just go live here through my Instagram and we'll all be set up. Hopefully all be set up. Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to our first Ask Me Anything with Fiona. Hopefully you're in the right place, and we're streaming this and recording so we can share it later on as well. I hope you all had a great holiday period. Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. I'm recording from home today. I'm actually not 100%. There's a lot of illnesses going around our office and our house. I know we're not the only people dealing with this. I had to go to urgent care earlier this week and it was full to the brim. So I have a little bit of a cough and chest infection. So just bear with me if I cough. Hopefully I won't, but I hope you're all doing well and ready for a great new year. Hi, everybody on Insta. Hi, all the people joining from the various platforms. I'm so excited to be here. We all had a great holiday period. Our office was closed for quite a while, for like 10 days between Christmas and New Year's. Everybody got some time off to spend with their families, themselves, whatever they wanted to do, they were free to do it. And it was important to me that the team gets that time. So we're back though. And we're ready to go. There's a great energy in our firm from our clients. It seems like, getting your immigration in order is something that is kind of top of people's New Year's resolution. So we're feeling that already. I just have to drink some of my Irish Lemsip, which is, if anyone's from Ireland and familiar with Lemsip, it's like the remedy for everything, a hot drink, a little bit of paracetamol. But anyway, good to see everybody. I'm glad so many joined in. Oh, you're very welcome, Alejandro. Thank you very much for commenting here. Thanks to Natasha and Marie. I see Liz from our team here. Aoife, Paul, hi, how are you? Great to see you over the holidays. So we're here I'm here today to do an AMA, right? So if you've heard of that phrase, or if you haven't, AMA means ask me anything. Within reason. So we had put this out ahead of time and people had sent in some questions, and I am here today hello, Zacchaeus. I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce your name, but welcome and thanks for dropping by. So I'm here to just answer your questions. I'll do the typical disclaimer that I am an attorney. I've been an immigration attorney for 16 years. But I am not your attorney right now in this capacity. It's a informal online chat. Don't rely on any advice as specific legal advice for you. But I want you to ask questions, but just keep in mind that your questions are public. So just, be aware of what you're asking in the public forum, but I'm happy to answer some general questions. We also got some questions ahead of time, so I'm happy to answer those. But if you have a question, you can just type it in the chat of whatever platform you're watching on. We're streaming from multiple platforms, so I'm not sure what you're on, but Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm seeing YouTube, some other people. So wherever you are, please feel free to pop in your question. Okay. So I think I just asked a question, or I popped that question. Oh, it looks like I can add questions to the live stream. So just, again, note that your question will be visible with your name, and I'm happy to do that as well. So, okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Please feel free to ask your questions here, and I will answer them as best I can. Okay, so the first question we have that's come in live from Emily is she's asking about the timelines for processing I-140s at the Nebraska Service Center. So let's break this down a bit. I-140 is an immigrant petition, and that is a pretty significant part of the green card process. I can't tell you what stage number it is in the process because it really depends on the type of green card process that you're going through. So it's an employment-based green card process, and that's an I-140 petition. And there's multiple different types of green card processes, and they all use this I-140 petition. So as far as processing times, I don't know off the top of my head what the processing times are like. You can look them up through the USCIS, which is the immigration agency. You can put in the type of petition you have, and you can put in the service center, and you can get the average processing times there, so you can see those. The processing times vary depending on the type of petition generally. And you can also premium process a lot of the I-140s, if not all of the I-140s. Previously, there were only some I-140 petitions that could be premium processed, but now that's available pretty much across the board. There's an additional fee for premium processing, which is going up in a few weeks. So if you're looking at upgrading your I-140 to premium, you can do that as if it's already been pending. You can upgrade it to premium processing. So you might want to think about looking into that. If the timeline's important to you, it just depends really on your case, on the types of petition you have and what the next stage looks like for you if you're overseas or if you're here waiting for a green card number to become available. So it just depends. But offhand, I don't know. I can't think of like the processing times that we've had. For a lot of people are opting for premium processing for the I-140. So that's like a finite time frame for premium processing. It's either 15 days or 45 days. So because a lot of people choose to do the premium, I just don't know off the top of my head what the processing times are. But you can look it up on the USCIS with the processing center there. Okay, so thank you, Emily, for asking that question. Hopefully that was sufficient answer for you. Okay, going through. Hi, Zach, you said you're in the UK and you're joining us from LinkedIn, which is great. And okay, Zach is asking about the election coming up and whether the Supreme Court is going to decide if Trump can be a presidential candidate. I don't know what's going to happen with the election with the Supreme Court weighing in or not. It's obviously an issue that is, of national importance, and there's some, differing opinions maybe throughout the different states, and something like that would be an issue when the Supreme Court would weigh in for things like that. So who knows? I do know that I lived and worked through through the Trump administrations, through that tenure, that 4-year period, and it was pretty horrific from an immigration point of view for us and for our clients. So I sincerely hope that we don't end up in that situation again. And I can talk about the, just the policies and the, a lot of different detrimental policies that we saw then. Okay. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. Watch this space. I know everybody is eagerly, waiting to see what's going to happen. Okay, Emily saying, thank you for the response. They keep changing the processing time. So this is back to the first question. It was 5 months. Now it's 7 months. No benefits now for premium. The priority date isn't current. Yeah. So I mean, like the processing times are subject to flux, so they will change. And also sometimes you'll have an outlier where the average processing time might be 6 months, but some cases could get adjudicated in a month or two, and other cases might take longer than that. So those processing times are average. So it's very hard to gauge based on those processing times. And then, in terms of not premium, not saying there's no benefits now for premium. I mean, I think the benefit is just like the peace of mind, and sometimes people want to pay for that. But it doesn't necessarily give you an immediate benefit if your priority date is not current. but for some people wanting, the adjudication to happen earlier is a benefit, and that's something that they want to see. So, okay. I'm going to answer Alejandro's question next. That is coming live, I think, perhaps from YouTube or somewhere else. So, okay, let me just see. There. Okay. So Alejandro. So currently under F1 status, had a H1B had a H1B previously. And are now on an F1. If they wanted to pursue the H1B after graduation, will you need to go through the lottery? Okay, this is a great question and something that I actually have direct experience with. So H1B visas, the lottery period is coming up. I could talk about this for an hour because we're not sure what that's going to look like. There are some proposed changes to the lottery. But essentially, if you're working for an employer that's not cap exempt, so that's not exempt from the lottery, people need to go through this once a year lottery. And the benefit of getting selected in the lottery is you get a kind of allotment of H1B time, which is generally 6 years in total. It can be extended if you're in the green card process, but it's done in a series of chunks, so like 3 years at max at any one time. So if you've been counted in the lottery and you haven't used up your full time, then potentially you can get back into H1B by filing a change of status. So don't take this as legal advice, but it's potentially possible to get back into H1B from F1 even if you've had that time period where you went from H1B to a different status like F and then want to go back to H1B. I've helped people in that situation, so potentially that is possible for you. If you're in F1, you're going to get your OPT presumably, and you might want to consider using that to kind of give you more time. So I would probably want to talk to you directly to see what makes sense for your situation. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay, let me see. Okay, so I'll go now to Instagram and see what questions I have here. Hi, everybody. Okay, I need to make sure that I'm looking at Instagram and I'm not like blocking the other streaming. So hi, everyone. Okay, somebody saying they were born in New York but lived in Ireland since the age of 3. Wanting to know how would you go about getting your daughter residency? Okay, so this is complex. A lot of immigration is complicated. It's one of the most complicated areas of law, but this is touching on an area of essentially transmitting citizenship from one generation to another. And how does that happen? It depends really on first off, it depends on when the child was born and what laws were in place at the time of the child's birth. It can depend on whether the parents were married. It'll depend on really the residency of that US citizen parent and potentially the grandparents. So sometimes you can use the residency of a grandparent to qualify a grandchild for US citizenship through the parent. It's complex. So I would say we would want to talk to you, Anne-Marie, and just explore what options you might have for your daughter if for some reason she was not able to be a citizen automatically, which can definitely happen. There may be a way for you to sponsor her for a green card. It's going to take some time. It just depends on a lot of different situations, how old she is really when she was born. So I would want to talk to you about that and see, but it would be worthwhile to explore, I would say, just to see what options. Okay, so somebody's asking, what's the best option for a visa if they have a sponsor but don't have a degree? Okay, I'm glad that you asked that question, and it actually is quite similar to a question that we got ahead of time that I'm just going to pull up on my laptop here, which was, do I have to have a degree in order to get a working visa? So in a nutshell, the answer is no, you don't have to have a degree to get a visa to the US. However, if you don't have a degree, your options may be a bit more limited than somebody who does have a degree. So, really, as far as like working visas, what immigration options are available, it's a very much a case-by-case analysis based on the individual. So let me just start like thinking of options off the top of my head that I know specifically do not require a degree. The O1 Extraordinary Ability Visa. This is a visa that I love to do. I do these for our team, not just me, but the attorneys on our team and our case managers. We do these visas for people in all different industries. So this can be for influencers. We've done some great visas, O1s for social media influencers, fitness influencers, all different types of people in that industry. Also sports, music, the arts. You know, a lot of people in those industries, they may have a degree or they may not, but it's not required. What's required is showing that you're extraordinary, that you meet the definition of extraordinary. And it also covers people in business and science and education, athletics. And some people may have a degree, but it's not a prerequisite for getting an O1. That's one option that I can think of off the top of my head that does not require a degree. Now, it's not going to work for everybody, right? The standard's high. It's not going to be suitable for everyone, but it's something that, you know, to consider to see if it could work for you. The next option is there's some J1s that don't require a degree. There's a couple of different types of J1. I mean, there's lots of different types of J1s. I think when people think of J1s, they may think it's only the summer work and travel J1 that college students get. That's a very popular. Sorry, I'm just getting a call coming through. Let me see if I can stop that. Okay, hopefully I'm back on Instagram there. Had a call coming through. Okay, back on track. My mother was actually calling me straight in the middle of my live. She obviously is not watching this, so she's busted for not watching. Okay, so J1s, there's lots of different types of J1s. People are familiar with the summer J1, but this is, there's other types of J1s that don't have anything necessarily to do with being in college. There's a J1 au pair. There's two kind of common J1s that are a bit longer than the summer ones. They're the J1 trainee or the J1 intern visa. And there's different requirements for those. The intern is for somebody who's in college or has recently graduated from college. But the trainee is for somebody who either has a degree and a year of experience or alternatively 5 years of experience. So that could be something that you could look at as well to see about the J1 intern. Other visas, let me see. It depends really on your industry, but like sports and music visas, P1s, right? That's the either an entertainer or an athlete. There's a P3 visa for somebody who's culturally unique. None of these have a degree requirement. It also can be possible for an employer to sponsor you for a green card without you having a degree. It's a process that is pretty lengthy and there's many different stages and, kind of parts to it. But green cards you can get an employer sponsored green card for jobs that do not require a degree, for people that do not require degrees either. It's probably going to be an EB3, which is a category of green card, either skilled or unskilled, depending on the requirements of the position. So there's lots of different parts of that process, but it doesn't require a degree. So hopefully that has been helpful. There's just some options, like I mentioned off the top of my head, that I know specifically don't require a degree. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm going to have a quick look to see. Okay, so somebody's saying your OPT will end. Do I have to go back to F1? You're not a STEM. So OPT is the work permit that students get post-graduation. I am very familiar with this. Firstly, because I used to be an international student and did OPT, and then also because I've advised thousands of international students and speak to international students all the time. So you don't have to go back to F1. There's other potential options that might work for you after your OPT, but it just depends on your situation. You may want to look at entering the H1B lottery, maybe the O1 visa, perhaps looking at green card options. It just really depends. I don't know what education level you have or what your background is, but there's potentially ways to sponsor yourself for a green card, the National Interest Waiver green card. It is slightly backlogged, but that could be an option for you. It wouldn't necessarily immediately, depending on timing, you may not be able to stay here just based on that. So you might need a kind of interim visa, but there could be some options for you. It would just really depend on your situation. But for now, what I will say is that the H1B lottery season is coming up. It's a once a year thing, and it is something that is very popular, and it's a sought after visa because there's lots of different options, lots of different benefits. Sorry, one second. Just my throat. Sorry, I'm a little sick, but I didn't want to let you all down by cancelling this. So I'm glad to be here. But so I would look to see what other options you potentially have, but just know that the lottery is a once a year time sensitive application that is coming up. So you would want to be looking into that soon. Okay, let me see. What other questions do I have? Okay, so someone's asking, as an F1 student, if I apply for OPT for the first time after you're completing your bachelor's, can I work for a job related to my associate's degree? Okay, so normally if you're applying for OPT, it is related to your field of degree that the OPT is based on. So in this scenario, the person's wanting to use OPT for a previous degree. Offhand, I don't think you're able to do that. As far as I am aware, your OPT is approved based on your degree, like that you've applied for, and you need to show that you're going to work in your field. So I would imagine that it has to be related to that degree, but I would defer to your international students office for any specific questions relating to that. Don't take this as legal advice. It's just offhand. I believe it needs to be related to the degree that the OPT is on which the OPT is based. But again, I would defer to the international students office. And really, I always say the international students office, they're the gatekeepers to OPT, to like anything student visa related. So I would talk to them about that just to see. Okay, let me scroll through. I'm seeing some other questions here. If you do have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat and I will get to it if I can. See. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Happy New Year to you all. I hope you're all doing great and not plagued by these illnesses that our whole office seems to have had, and our family too. But okay, some other questions that we got. So someone saying, I answered that question about do you have to have a degree. Another question that we got ahead of time was, what is the average timeline on securing a work visa from Ireland? Okay, so that just depends on the visa, right? There's all different processes depending on what visa option you're going for. Some of them are petition based, meaning they need to be filed here through the USCIS first, and then you can get a visa appointment. Some of them can be applied for directly at the embassy, like a J1 or an E2 or an E1. So it just really depends. There's no kind of set, any visa takes X time. Like it just depends on your specific process. So I can't really give you more info without knowing a little bit more about what visa you're going for. Okay, someone's asking, what's the best route to bring over 21-year-old son of a green card holder to the US from Ireland? Okay, so presumably, so it sounds like the person in question is a green card holder. And green card holders and US citizens are able to sponsor certain relatives to come to the US on green cards. Now, this is where it gets a little complex because we need to look at the status of the person that would be sponsoring them. So whether they are a US citizen or whether they are green card, and then the type of relationship that the person has to that sponsor. And there's different categories of family-based green cards under the FB, which is the family-based immigration system. So the categories are the first preference category. Before I even get into the categories, there's certain people that are not subject to any categories. They're called immediate relatives, and they are their spouses, children under 21, unmarried children under 21, and parents of US citizens. So if somebody's in that category, they're an immediate relative, not subject to any kind of backlogs. The next categories then are the first preference. F1 is unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens. Then there's F2A and F2B, which is spouses and children of permanent residents. And then unmarried sons and daughters, which is over 21 of permanent residents. Then there's third, which is married sons and daughters of US citizens. And then fourth is brothers and sisters of US citizens. So these are the preference categories. In this scenario, the person is over 21, son of a green card. So the sponsoring person is a green card holder, and the person they want to sponsor is their son. So that would be assuming unmarried, because that's what it would have to be, unmarried sons and daughters of permanent residents. That's in the F2B category. So right now there is a pretty strong backlog for that category. They're working on cases that their green cards are available for people who started the process in 2015. So it's very backlogged. And it's not something that's going to be available soon. So I would say maybe talk to an attorney, see if there's other options available to the person. Perhaps there's some employment-based green card options that might be available, or some temporary visas that might be available, because that's a long, backlog, and a lot of the family-based green card categories are really backlogged. Like the adult or the spouse, the brothers and sisters sponsoring your siblings, that is backlogged. So it depends also, I should have said this, it depends on where the person is born, what the country of birth of the person. So there's different backlogs for people from different countries. So in that category specifically, Mexico and Philippines have an additional backlog than that one that I mentioned. So it just depends on where the person is born. Okay, so somebody's saying, thank you for helping with your P1 visa a couple of years ago. You are very welcome. I'm so happy. And that now they have had an O1 approved. That is great news. Congratulations. So happy to hear that. Thanks for jumping on to share that. So someone's saying is that the spousal visa? So if it's a spouse, US citizen spouse, that's an immediate relative. And Liz is saying that Natalia did a TikTok on this, one of our attorneys. So that would be great, Liz, if you could share that so people can see the difference between the immediate relative and the preference category. So great. Okay, sorry, I keep putting my hand in front of the video because I have my Instagram camera up here. Oh, the wonders of technology. So I'm just so happy that there's people have jumped on and that there's great questions coming in. I know it's probably been hard to get back in the swing of things after the holidays. So I'm grateful that so many people are here today and commenting and giving such great feedback. Okay, so that is another question off my list. So someone's saying it seems the US is short-staffed. Yes, agreed. Do I think the government will ever recognize this and create a visa to fill the gaps like Australia did? So look, I mean, it comes down to really Congress. Immigration policy can be changed from one administration to the next. We've seen the Biden administration create some really good immigration policy in relation to like business immigration and some other things for STEM workers. So the president can change policy, but the actual laws need to be changed by Congress. And right now we're dealing with laws that are over 30 years old. So, really Congress needs to update the immigration laws. And we've been waiting 30 years. So who knows? We do a lot of advocacy, and so we do a lot of work to let people know how outdated the laws are. I've done a lot of stuff for startup immigration, startup visa stuff. So we're not going to give up, but I also am not going to hold my breath for Congress to pass any new immigration laws. But yes, I think that if we were to look at how other countries respond to changes in labor needs, I think that we should definitely be taking some tips from other countries in that respect. I've written some articles on this, and I wrote a piece with a Canadian immigration attorney and a UK immigration attorney, and really just talking about how they have constantly updated and modernized their immigration system to be reflective of the current needs of the market, and we have not, and we're stuck in a 30-year time warp. So okay, Liz from our team has shared the link to the TikTok that Natalia did, talking about the preference category versus the immediate relative. So if anybody has questions about family-based immigration, that might be something to look at there as well. Okay, so somebody's asking about, okay, will the 2-year extension on a current 3-year J1 visa ban me from a green card for their US partner in 2 years' time? Okay. Not totally positive. This is someone that's going to need some specific advice. I think they're talking about having a residency requirement on a J1 visa, but I'm not positive. But if that's the case, you just would want to make sure that you talk to your attorney about that to see, because, excuse me, certain J1 visas are subject to a home residency requirement, meaning you can't go from J1 to certain visas without fulfilling, or green cards without fulfilling the residency, meaning going home for 2 years or getting a waiver of that. So it just really depends on your situation. But I believe that's what you're referencing. And I would definitely encourage you to book a chat with one of our attorneys so we can talk to you about that. Okay, so I think we're pretty much at the half an hour. Thanks to everybody for jumping on, following us, for giving us your questions, your feedback, your comments, your time. We're just grateful to be able to, share our passion and our knowledge and our expertise with so many people. So I appreciate all of you. We do a lot of regular events. There's some webinars that we do. We have a newsletter. We do lots of short videos on all the various platforms. And we'll be doing more of those. So as a way to educate people, I've also written a book on startup immigration. If you want a copy, feel free to get in touch with us and we can find a way to get you a copy of that as well. That's it. Thank you for coming to my first AMA. We made it through. The first week in January. And I hope everybody's looking forward to a nice, restful weekend and a great year ahead. I know our team certainly is. And yeah, looking forward to continuing to advise you all and see you online. And have a great weekend. I'm going to sign off. Take care, everybody. Bye, Instagram. Okay, and take care. Bye-bye.